Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Game, your one-stop shop for anything related to games, anime, movies, and pretty much everything else in this world that is ridiculously cool. Today, we are going to be hitting a topic that is just near and dear to my heart. Martial art films. Now, unless you've been under a rock for 40 years, it's a huge genre. There's all sorts of fun action, but we're gonna have some fun today. Because all you guys probably know Bruce Lee and what he's done, but we're gonna talk about the best martial art films that don't have Bruce Lee in these. So we're just gonna sit back and have a ton of fun today, talk about some killer kung fu karate action, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. With me today, joining my man, Waffles, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man.
It's gonna be awesome. We have the great Daidakuji. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Guys, you know what? Aside from Bruce Lee, who did some great stuff, The Chinese Connection, Game of Death, we cannot talk about those. But what are some of your favorite martial arts films? Gentlemen, game on.
Well, you know it, you love him. He's probably the biggest action star to come out of China, Jackie Chan.
Yes.
Almost anything that guy does is amazing. Gorgeous is probably one of my favorites that is not on the big radar. I mean, because he has a lot of huge radar movies that everybody sees, and then he has a lot of lower ones. And that one came out, I think, in the early 2000s. And unless you really like, you know, martial art movies or really like Jackie Chan movies, you probably just went underneath because, like, he was big in the U.S. at the time, and they didn't put it in the theater like they did Operation Condor. They didn't, you know, dub it over and do any of that stuff. They just like direct to DVD, kind of like under the radar.
Gorgeous was awesome, man. Gorgeous had that great boxing scene. It was all about your inner rhythm. Had that music going on, and the girl in that movie was fine.
Oh, yeah, she was smoking.
She needs to be like my next ex-wife. That movie was great. Jackie Chan did some great films. You know, Operation Condor was Drunken Master.
Oh, yeah.
Drunken Master series was
I
phenomenal.
think Drunken Master 2 is my favorite one.
Drunken Master 2 was hands down.
Who Am I was one of my favorites. Like that movie was
that
just
one was
that was just a
phenomenal, too.
fun movie, like just from beginning to end. And you know I like the Evo scene. That was like my favorite part, even though that had nothing to do with martial arts.
No,
but Bruce Lee, I mean not Bruce Lee, but Jackie Chan and his stunts are just they never disappoint.
One of the coolest things about Drunken Master was the fact that his trainer, who was like 60-something at the time, was the guy who played his dad in that film.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I mean, the coolest part was that whole fight scene between him and his old master, which was just a lot of fun. Guys, if you have not seen Drunken Master, the second one is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the few sequels in this world that actually just blows away the original. So please go check that out. Another one that popped up on my radar, guys. What do you guys think of like something like Tony Jaa and what he's done in the Young Bak series?
Tony Jaa is amazing too. He seems like he took what Jackie Chan was doing it and kind of flipped it on his ear, because instead of using like, Chinese kung fu or martial arts or whatnot, he was using, Thai kickboxing a lot. It looks like a lot of elbows and knees into it, but he just seems like, you know what? I'm made out of rubber. I'll throw myself at anything, because that's basically what he does. It's just like, wow, how in the heck do you survive after doing things like that? But I'm pretty sure Jackie Chan was a big influence on him, because just the style of his movies seemed very Jackie Chan-esque.
Yep.
And I thought they were wonderful. I mean, I saw Ong-Bak 1, and then when I found out it was part 2, I've been meaning to sit down and watch it. I just haven't made the time for it, because when sequels come along, you don't want to feel disappointed. Pretty sure I won't be disappointed, but you just still kind of have that, like, I didn't even know that came out. And then they had a part 3, and I'm going, wow, they got part 3? I didn't even see part 2 yet. But part 1 was amazing, so I'm gonna sit down one day and watch them. But if you haven't seen Ong-Bak part 1, watch it, because it was...
Look for knees in those movies.
Yeah, a lot of knees.
You see a lot of them. There's lots of knee and chest contact in those movies.
What do you think of stuff like what Jet Li's done?
What movie you were gonna bring up? Fist of Legend?
Oh, Fist of Legend, being the fact that it was a Bruce Lee remake.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee being one of the greatest martial art actors ever.
That was like considered one of his, Jet Li's greatest.
Yeah.
Go figure. It's one of his greatest movies. That's a remake of a recent Bruce Lee movie. But like, he laid it down in that movie, Fist of Legend. And I like Kiss of the Dragon too. That was one. That one came out over here in the States. That was like a big release here, but that was one of my favorites too. Is Kiss of the Dragon.
Great one that I think that really kind of flew under the radar here was Ip Man. Ip Man was just awesome. Now, I know De Niro's kind of redoing that whole thing and calling it something else, which unfortunately I may have to see. Man, I do. When I sat there, that movie was so awesome. Now I sat there, watched it, and then rewound it and watched it again. I mean, it killed 4 hours of my life, guys. It's one of the best films you have ever seen. The action in that movie was just absolutely fantastic.
Donnie Yen was Donnie Yen. Yeah, Donnie Yen was magnificent in that movie. I mean, everything that he did, and that's another influence that Bruce Lee has, because that was a movie about the master of Bruce Lee and what he went through back in, the war between, China and Japan and whatnot, occupation.
Yeah,
but
Donnie Yen, he's very underrated. Very, very underrated. You just got, the main ones you hear are Jackie Chan and Jet Li. He's pretty up there on my list.
Up there. What was it? Was it Once Upon a Time in China? If I remember correctly, he was in that as well. And Jet Li, I think they were both in that movie. And Donnie Yen, if I remember correctly, was the bad guy.
Yep.
And there's tons of them.
So let's talk about some of the ones that are really under the radar, man. And one of the cool movies, it's not necessarily a full-bore martial arts film, and they do have a remake coming up. Old Boy. Old Boy to me has one of the best single-shot fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. They shot that thing, I think, 17 times, and it's just one continuous shot. What do you guys think about stuff like that? What do you guys think about The Great White Hope? Chuck Norris.
Well,
I mean,
being the fact that I was going to bring up Old Boy, because I wasn't sure if I should have or not, because I don't know if it was really classified as a martial arts movie, though it had martial arts in it.
It had one of the coolest.
That scene was probably one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie, a continuous shot like that as well. And you don't see too many movies, or if they do that at all, that do something
a lot of movies
like
nowadays, they do the shaky cam.
Children of Men did a really cool fight scene. It had nothing to do with martial arts, but the Children of Men had a really cool, real long, flowing scene. You can actually tell when the edit comes because there's a little drop of blood in the camera lens, just miraculously disappears.
Yeah.
What are some of the other, real kind of under the radar ones that you really need to recommend to people at home?
Well, I kind of like the comedy ones a little bit, falling back on Jackie Chan, even though it was not Jackie Chan. Shaolin Soccer, I thought was hilarious.
Good one, yeah.
My first time watching it, I watched it without subtitles, and I'm still laughing. I'm cracking up going like, how am I understanding what the heck is, I'm obviously
because it's a good story.
But yeah, and it was still hilarious, and I thought it was great. And another one by Stephen Chow also was Kung Fu Hustle, which I thought was just a great action, great story. I mean, I like how he merged almost like the Looney Tune-esque type things into it, but also made you feel for the guy. I like the movie a lot. Those two, if you've never seen them before, I suggest watching them both. It doesn't matter what order.
Right. Kung Fu Hustle was funny.
And I would have never thought that those would have came out over here too. Did Kung Fu did that come out in the theater?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they both did. Yeah, because they came out like years later though after they came out. Though.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that type of movie would have reached, an audience out here, that broad of an audience.
What about stuff like, House of Flying Daggers? I mean, I don't want to go like real old school stuff because we could be here for days. What about the great Steven Seagal stuff that came out?
Well, Steven Seagal, despite his acting ability,
lack thereof,
is a phenomenal martial artist. I mean, he was probably, if I remember correctly, one of the first American to open up his own or run his own dojo in Japan. Because before acting, he did his martial arts, and he took them seriously. And then I guess he got into acting, and he started packing on the pounds a little bit, and then he still, knows what he's doing. But
his first couple of movies are all right.
No, the best one he was in is the one he got killed with Kurt Russell. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Good, bad, indifferent.
Bloodsport, baby.
Bloodsport's on like every 20 minutes.
He's in the middle with me. I like me a little Van Damme. I like early Van Damme. So what was the latest movie you had come out in the theaters?
Was that the JVD? No, that didn't come out in the theater, but it was Expendables 2 he was in.
Oh, come on, he played a great character called Villain.
Yeah. And
Thanks for originality, guys.
He did a great job in it. I forgot that Jean-Claude Van Damme was around because he kind of fell off the map, but then
Electric Boogaloo, baby.
Electric Boogaloo, boy. That put him on the map. No.
Yeah, and not necessarily, in the best of all light. Guys, I mean, if you could pick one film for somebody to go see, what would it be?
DVD, just anything? It was a Jackie Chan film, Thunderbolt with Jackie Chan.
That was good. Dado, what you got?
One of my favorite ones that I remember seeing was Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan. I'm sorry I'm going to Jackie Chan, but Rumble in the Bronx.
It was awesome stuff.
It was. It's stuck into my head. I thought it was a great movie. It gave you the action, it gave you the comedy, it gave you Jackie Chan. And I think that was his first movie.
It was one of the first big movies that came out over here.
Put over in the United States.
We could sit here and talk for days about this. Guys, please hit us up, gameshowchat@gmail.com. Email us what your favorite ones are. Hit us up on Twitter. Guys, I'm sorry. Game over.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they... You are our garbage.